Hello everybody, this is Bob Gilio. I'm back in my shop, and today I want to do a short video for you on how to finger joint some scrap wood I have hanging around my shop. And this is the first time I've done this, so I thought it'd be good to share the experience with you and show you how to do this as I learn it myself. So let's start today. I'm going to show you some wood I have hanging around in my scrap bin. Pulled out 2 pieces of poplar from my scrap bin and 2 pieces of pine. I went ahead and I joined the bottom edge of both of these, of all 4 of these boards on my joiner. Now I'm going to go over to my table, my router table, and show you the brand new bit that I just bought. It's an Amana finger joint bit, model 55392, and it is basically a stack cutter that's adjustable. And you see that you have 5 cutters all stacked together between bushings. And then the top cutter is the larger one. This one always has to be on the top of the wood cut. This is the last cut on your joint. So to adjust this bit can do material from as small as 7/16 of an inch for one cutter, up to as big as 1 3/8 of an inch if you use all the cutters. So I'm going to now show you how to arrange the cutter heads to get it to cut 3/4 inch material. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unscrew this top nut here like this. I'll take off the bushing and the 1 steel spacer and set that aside. I'm going to take off, now you can see here, between each cutter is a brass shim, a steel bushing, and another brass shim. So they've got kind of a pancake between each one of the cutters. So I'm going to take off all 3 of them at the same time, because for 3/4 inch material, I only need the 2 cutters on the bottom. I'm then going to reinstall that top thicker cutter back on top. I'm going to put back the washer. I'm going to put back all the bushings and the washers to make that stack again, because we're not going to use these top cutters. So we're going to go ahead and put these back, but without the cutters. This is what the instructions advise you to do. So we're just going to go ahead and do that. Do another one. We're going to put all the spaces and the shims back. Everything except for those top 3 cutters. And then we're going to put this one here, steel, then the top bushing, and then we're going to put the nut back. And we're going to tighten the nut accordingly. Align the cut heads. I don't know whether you have to align these heads, but every video or instruction sheet I've seen always have them aligned. Okay, we're going to just tighten that top nut, and then we'll be ready to set the height of the bit. So with the cutters now stacked in the correct position, the 3 cutters, the 2 bottom ones, and the thicker top one, I'm going to take my fence and just move it in here. And there's a bearing on the bottom, the guide bearing for the bit. So I'm going to just align my fence to that guide bearing. But the other important thing I have to do is I have to make sure that the fence is parallel to my miter slot, because I am going to be using a miter gauge. With the fence now in the correct position relative to the guide bearing on the bottom of this bit, being in the parallel plane, it's also parallel to this miter slot here. And so I went ahead and installed a miter gauge here, and I installed a backer board here as a way to give me firm support on the material as it's fed through. The other thing I wanted to mention to you was I attached my vacuum hose to the fence so that I can minimize the dust, and I also reduced the motor speed to 12,000 RPM on the router motor. So with that, we're going to do, we have to now set the height of the bit, which is basically what the manufacturer recommends is that the height of the cutter should be set such that the bottom and the top material dimensions in the cut have to be equal. So, and that will assure me so that when I turn the board over for the mating piece, I'll get it exactly in the center line. Set the bit height. I took a piece of stock material that's the same thickness as the boards I want to finger joint, and I held it up against the cutter teeth. And I put a mark on the bottom of the top cutter and on the bottom of the bottom cutter. And I went ahead and measured those marks on my board to make sure that they're equal distance, they're equal to each other. And this is about 5-30 seconds. So I'm going to go ahead and run a test piece through to make sure that it turns out to be that way. So running the pieces through the test cut, you can see the pieces did. I cut one with face down, the other face up on the table, and then I put them together like this, and you can see I have a very nice fit here. Let me show you that fit. That's a nice fit. So I think we're just about ready. I got a nice smooth bottom and a smooth top. So we're gonna go ahead and finger joint the pieces now. Here's the final product after running the boards through the finger joiner. And you can see that they came out pretty good, but they're not perfect. The pine is probably the worst out of the two. You can see it starts off nice and even here, but then it actually comes up, curls up over here on the joint. And the reason for that is because I didn't join the face of these boards. And you can see they do have a cup to them. You can see it there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this through the joiner on the flat side now and plane the back to make the boards nice and flat. Not so much needed on the poplar because it's pretty much flat as is, but I could run a pass or two. No, it's really pretty good. It's just going to be the pine. So I'm going to go ahead and run the pine through my joiner on the flat side, on the back side, and then run through the finger joiner again to see how that improves the joint. So after running the pine through the joiner, the joint is much better now. Look at that. It is very nice. I lost some thickness as you would expect, because when you join the faces of the boards, you're going to lose thickness. And I used the table saw to actually, as a surface planer, to get my thickness consistent after the planing process. But it basically came out very good. So as you can see, I want to show you that right here. That's a pretty good fit here. So now all I have to do now is glue it up, both the pine and the poplar. So glue it and clamp it. And we just got some use out of these scrap pieces of board. Thank you for watching. I hope this helped.